Hello, everybody, and welcome back for the final wrap-up show. Today we are doing the light and dark set review for Opus 14, and there's not a lot much to talk about. We did cover most of these already, but we will go over it again, and we will see where they belong. Some of their newer. Maybe if I have a new take on it now that we have we've seen the rest of the set, and where they'll have a home, and their playability, obviously. So. With that being said, thank you guys for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the series so far. Please look forward to the rest of the videos coming out afterwards. We're going to talk about, we have a lot of decks to go through, right? There's pretty much one guaranteed for every color, and then all the fancy technical stuff that we'll get involved with. So, yeah. All right. First, we have up Omega and the newest one, Stern Leonis. Omega, at the end of each of your turns, if there is no weapon counter placed on Omega, place one weapon counter on Omega. If one or more weapon counter are placed on Omega, Omega deals your opponent 1 point of damage and remove all weapon counters from Omega. When Omega is chosen by your opponent's summons or abilities, you may remove a weapon counter from Omega. If you do so, Omega cannot be broken until the end of the turn. So, going back to him, so at the end of each player's turn, if there is no counter, place one. If one or more weapon counter is placed on Omega, Omega deals. If there is no weapon counter Omega, if one or more weapon counters are placed on Omega, deal your opponent 1 point of damage or remove all weapon counters from it instead. So it's every other turn, just so we're clear, right? It took me a second to catch up to that, but I guess it's late here when we're recording this, so. Still a very strong card. Should be interesting to see. He is special, so it won't be searchable outside of finding a regular character through the deck. And he is dark. Any dark card searchers. 5 for 10 is going to be good. He's going to be difficult to deal with, I think. But the more I think about it too, there might be a place for him with him and like an Ice Necron deck. Being as there's a lot of ways to cheat in forwards now. I do see this as a viable option just to like start racking on those 2 points of damage per turn. It's nothing like Sophie, but there's always that too, right? Like any Sophie deck that throws him in there is going to be dealing 2 points of damage per turn on one turn potentially. So you're not going to be you won't actually be safe from this. From anything we've seen in the set, nothing else really, rings a bell like for a deck for him. He's not going to fit in with most of the primals since the primals are going to be standalone decks. But he will see play 100%. Someone is going to do it. He's not as toxic as X-Death, so I do see him being played often. If at the very least a one of in some decks when you just want to add like an extra forward, something big and hefty and like something to a problematic card for most decks. Omega is going to fill that spot now, whereas before things like Nidhogg or Veritas or even X-Death would fill those roles. Omega seems like the next viable option. Now, Stern Leonis, the cost required to... let me start over. 4 cost FFBE Prince, 9k. He's a hero. The cost required to cast your forwards is reduced by 1. It cannot become 0. Remove 4 forwards in your break zone from the game. Select one of the 3 following actions. Choose a forward, deal it 7k. Choose a monster, break it. Or until the end of the turn, all forwards you control gain 4,000 power and brave. I specifically like his passive, which is like reduce all your forwards by 1. It's just like an innate like Tilica move, right? Like you can bring him out on a turn. I think he's gonna find a place in wind, because everything's gonna be about how many things you cast and how much CP you want to save across the board. So you obviously play him on a turn you plan on setting up a play of some kind or doing something, but if he does manage to live a turn, your next play is even more like efficient, right? I don't know, there is a place too where these two guys go in a deck. Like I said, just for fun, thinking about it, the Dark Necron deck might actually do something at some point. And the dark cards are very hefty, so you're casting your forwards are gonna be, if your dark forwards are gonna be cheaper in general, like all forwards, right? It's just gonna make it so much easier. I think it would have been cool if he had an S, mainly because I don't see when you're playing one, he might because he's a 4/9, he might stick around a little bit longer. And he does have like, I don't know, he's gonna be hard to deal with naturally, right? Like now that everything is coming in stronger and above the curve than they used to, he might stick around a turn or not. Obviously, you're gonna want to remove him instantly because if not, your opponent's gonna do some silly things. But again, his S without an S, a card like this doesn't. Having multiple copies just makes it more clunky, and having like too many of them, you're gonna draw into 2 Leonuses, right? And it's just the Sterns, and it's not gonna be good. We can move on to the light ones though. Shinryu and Mashiri. Now we did see these early on. Well, we saw Mashiri early on, and then Shinryu once the cards of the weeks actually started. So when Shinryu enters the field, deal 10k to all forwards of cost, all the forwards of cost 3, 6, and 9 opponent controls, which is good. It's only one-sided. At the beginning of main phase 1, during each of your turns, reveal the top card of your opponent's deck. If it is a forward, all forwards your opponent controls do 7,000 power into the end turn. If it's not a forward, draw 2 cards. Same thing here. There's a situation where if he lives... See, he's 5/9, right? Stern is 4/9. It's going to be... But he's also in that 5 spot, which just breaks easily sometimes. I like that he targets 3s, 6s, and 9s. 9s we probably won't get too much out of it. I don't think there wasn't many 9 costs. I don't think there's many 9 costs in the game period. So, but 3 and 6 is definitely something targetable. Pairing this with Chivalry is going to be a nice card too for specific decks that he'll fit. Shinryu can fit in just about any deck. So and then his second effect is what's going to get you value, right? Like during each of your turns. Reveal the top card of your opponent's deck, right? So you're going to get information on what they're going to draw next turn. You can reduce something, potentially remove something from the board, right? Or you're going to draw 2 cards, which means you're drawing 4 cards this turn from your already like impressive hand, usually, right? A 5, you're full gripping or something. But yeah, Shinryu is going to be tough. I think he's going to be a higher priority list of things you want to remove instantly, and we're going to need... I'm sure we're going to have plenty of cards to remove him, and we've already seen a bunch of the new like primals and how they deal with forwards like him. So, yeah. Next is Mashiri. The cost of a card to cast your summons is reduced by 1. Remove 3 summons from your break zone from the game. Select one of the following 3 actions. You can draw a card, choose a forward, return it to its owner's hand. Or during this turn, the cost required to cast your next summon is reduced by 3 and cannot become 0. We already saw the Doga deck move into having building up a deck that you can have multiple summons in, and I really enjoyed that deck. But will Mashiri find a home in something like that? Maybe. I don't know if you want to remove stuff to kind of lower Doga, or but like I said before when we saw this too, the summon decks haven't really panned out the way we had hoped. Like there was the Unit deck, which did a lot of crazy things for a lot of value, but for no reason mainly. And so I think as much as we want her to find a home, I don't know if she will. And I think that's going to wrap it up. I don't have much more to say about her. She is searchable 2 ways. You have Princess and FFBE, and she's a light card. So, yeah. I think that's going to wrap it up, guys. We're going to, like I told you, this one's going to be short. I hope you like the series of the Opus 14 set review, but please get excited for the following videos. We're probably going to have something coming up this week, and then deck profiles nonstop after that. Our local should be popping off, not obviously the week after the set, so please stay tuned to that. Make sure to follow my boy TCG Tacos. He streams our locals every Monday that we meet pretty much. But yeah, guys, thanks again for listening. If you liked it, don't forget to hit the like button, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time.